Susan Tedeschi,
and Derek Trucks.
and we're from the Tedeschi Trucks Band, and you're listening to Noise 11.
Susan Tedeschi and also Derek Trucks joining us here at noise11.com. Welcome back to Australia.
Good to be back.
Yeah, working on that accent still?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
It's slow going.
Yeah, I guess, it must be great forming this new band, because having had separate and successful careers, it was, quite, I guess, it must have been a decision to sort of put the other two bands aside and, form the new husband and wife team.
It was a leap of faith for sure, and we talked about it quite a bit. We wanted to make sure if we did this, we did it full on. Like, we didn't want to keep our bands going, so we had a safety net to fall back on, and we didn't want to start this and just play the material from our other bands. Like, we really did start from scratch. And, knowing that there'd be headwinds, because when you're doing something that's working and there's a fan base with our individual bands, there's going to be some resistance to completely abandoning that.
Gonna make someone mad.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But if you're not making somebody mad, you're not trying hard enough. Is the way I feel about it. Like, you're supposed to be digging deep, and you're supposed to, you're supposed to take chances occasionally, and that's what this band was from the beginning, and it's gotten better and better. I mean, we had high hopes for it, but it's already gone way past what I think we originally intended. So.
Well, high hopes is, one thing, but then you end up with a Grammy Award for, the studio record that's attached to the live album in here.
That was a good start.
Yeah, not bad for the first record.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Great.
So, Susan, you and Derek were both touring as separate entities
For many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Is that how you first met each other? Just purely
It
simply
is
by working
actually
together?
how we met. My band was opening up for, Derek was in the Allman Brothers when he was 20, and my band was opening. And we became friends, and actually O'Teal was in the band too.
Yep.
And so the three of us hung out every day, and they turned me on to music. I tried to turn them on to stuff, but they had a much bigger head start than I did. But it was great.
So basically you married the guy from work.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, down the hall.
Yeah. Well, Soul Stew Revival, was
Yeah.
that what
That
you were
was-
calling yourselves?
Well, for a little while we called it us. We did that project just so we could pretty much be together, and it was only 2 little runs that we did.
It's kind of an experiment, summertime, take the kids on the road. It was kind of a combination of her band and my band, and we played material from both bands and some covers that we'd always wanted to play, and it was,
It was fun.
It was a nice summer tour, and that kind of sparked the idea of, if we're going to do this,
We should really do it.
let's do it.
And then we put the super all-star cast together.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, then we decided we were going to write and we're going to do everything from scratch. And, of course, we have all of our other material from both of our catalogs, but we don't even pull that stuff out because we have so much new stuff. So it's really quite exciting.
But do people in the audience ask for the old
Oh,
stuff?
yeah. They scream out stuff all the time.
Every once in a while we'll throw something in,
We
but
try.
the first year and a half of the band, we purposely avoided all of that, and just to make sure you can do it yourself, because it's. You get into a routine, you don't even know you're doing it, but there's certain songs that you can pull out at certain times that you're going to get the crowd right where you want them. There's certain bags of tricks, and it's just from doing it. And, we really wanted to abandon that and just start and just make music, make it happen every night and figure out what works. And, it was kind of a way to shed a skin and reinvent yourself. And it's been, I think it's rejuvenated us individually and as a band, obviously.
Yeah. Well, with the live album in particular, the choice of cover versions is very, very interesting. You use the title Everybody's Talking, which is an old Harry Nilsson song, and I don't think I've ever heard anybody cover Harry Nilsson's Everybody's Talking before. People do Coconut, they do Without
Yeah.
You. No one's...
Well, there's
really
one
done it.
great version of Everybody's Talking that we had heard.
Bill Withers.
It's a Bill Withers version.
Uh-huh.
And it's pretty funky, and when we heard it, we're like, that'd be fun to do. And we kind of did a hybrid of the two. The band is kind of leaning on the Bill Withers version, and Susan's kind of leaning on the Harry
I can't
version.
get that melody in with the groove though. So
Yeah.
make up my own thing.
When you get into the Stevie Wonder song "Uptight," it almost becomes a jazz band. Well, it really
Yeah.
does become a jazz band, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, that tune is actually an excuse to turn the horn players loose.
Yeah.
There's some, in a live set, there's some tunes you do, and I mean, I love the tunes, but sometimes you're just like, you know what, we got to showcase this guy. What would be a great groove? And sometimes you just write a groove on the spot. Sometimes there's a tune that occupies that space, but yeah, Uptight became our excuse to turn the drummers and Maurice loose.
Our trumpet
and
player.
it gets fun, those grooves are timeless. So.
Mm. And what about "Darling Be Home Soon"? John Sebastian, "Love and Spoonful."
It's
Very
a beautiful
classic
song.
Yeah.
It is. It's one of those tunes that, sometimes people recognize it, and it's usually people that, were probably around in the 70s to see songs, maybe John Sebastian or Mad Dogs and Englishmen do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just a great tune, and it was just fun to do live, and another excuse to show off the trumpet player.
That one actually came up when we first did Soul Stew. That was an idea that we had then, and it was listening to the Joe Cocker Mad Dogs and Englishmen version. And I remember the first time we played it, my dad was a big Love and Spoonful fan. He used to listen to that in the car all the time. So he knew it from that, and I knew it from the Mad Dogs. So
Yeah.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Amazing tune though. The acoustic version at Woodstock is pretty great.
From the same man who brought us "Welcome Back, Cotter."
That's right. You never know what you're gonna get. Right?
Yeah. With the studio album Relevator, let's talk about that. Going in the studio and like a brand new band, how did the chemistry come together for that? Was it already in place before you reached the studio?
That band kind of formed in the studio.
In the studio.
I mean, that record was made while we were
Revelator,
putting the
yeah.
band together, and it was that was an amazing time. I mean, the chemistry was there kind of right from the start, and
Yeah.
that record kind of made itself. It was pretty amazing.
The
And,
horn players came after we had already done a lot of the recording too.
Yeah, the first time we met, the first time the horn section really played together was when we were cutting the horn tracks for that. So that record was really the formation of the band. It was the birth of the band, and we just got out of the studio. We just did our second studio record that I think August it'll probably come out. But this one feels like a
really
full
good.
5 steps forward. Like everybody knows each other. Everybody's more confident.
It's exciting.
The fangs are out a little bit more. Like it hits hard, and wrote a bunch of great tunes. I'm excited about this one. I think it'll make some noise.
There's no sleepers.
No.
No. Every song, it's hard. Like even our horn players, they were kidding about it the other day. They're like, "Man, we were trying to fast forward through tunes, but we couldn't." We're like, "Well, man, everything's good." I was like, "That's a good sign."
Yeah. Title?
Made Up Mind.
Uh-huh. Producer?
Derek and Jim Scott,
Wow.
Yeah, me and Jim did Revelator 2 and the live one.
Grammy worthy. No, just kidding.
Well,
With those two,
Looking at the track record,
We'll see.
how was it winning the Grammy Award that year?
it was really special. I mean, I've
'Cause
been
you'd been nominated
six
6 times, yeah.
And so to finally win and to win with Derek and the new band was really exciting. It was
Yeah.
really special.
Of course, Derek was up there. Oh, not
He's
again.
like, I'm not gonna-
Well, that was the first time I'd ever been there for one, because we didn't go the first time.
well, we were
I
up
was
against
nominated.
each other.
Yeah?
We
Is
just-
that right?
We
Yeah,
stayed
he
at
beat
home.
me. For
We
the
watched
first
it on the
time.
couch online.
Mm-hmm.
Our drummer was out there, so Rico accepted it. But this time, I don't think we were really planning on going either, but the Allman Brothers got a Lifetime Achievement Award, and they
And we were
They-
coming back from Japan.
and they decided to include the current lineup. And so for some reason they gave the new members Lifetime Achievement Award. It was very nice of them, but I don't know if it's fully deserved. But so we were there for that, and we were up against Greg Allman and Warren Haynes, who I play in a band with. Last time being up against my wife was much more difficult than band. Everyone was like, "What's it like being up against band members?" Like, that's nothing. It's not a divided household. So this was fun, and I really felt good about our record. I felt like, I mean, you always feel like you're confident about your record, but I thought with Greg being in there, he puts out a record once every 15 years that he would probably get it, whether people listen to the albums or not. Like I was surprised when we did get it, and a lot of the band was there. It was nice. We all got to go up and together. Jim Scott was there, produced it with us, and it was fun, unexpected.
Mm. How often do you do stuff with the Allman Brothers now?
Really, it's all of March, or not all of March. I finished the last show on the 17th, and then got on a plane on the 18th, and we headed this way. But we do the Beacon Theater, just 10 to 15 shows in a row, a few days off a week. So we do that every year, and then a short tour. So it's not that much. It's
usually
30,
tour
40
in the
shows a
summer
year.
and then a little bit in the fall.
Yeah. But it's light. It's a light schedule.
Those Beacon shows have become legendary, haven't they?
They're amazing.
Pretty amazing.
I have to admit, I really enjoy it. I mean, I'll be sad when they end someday, because they are special, and the whole crew is really special. It's not just a band. It's, the whole establishment is pretty amazing.
And the people that come out every year, you see a lot of familiar faces. People that come out to every show. I have a friend. He's bought tickets to the last 176 Beacon Theater Allman Brothers shows, and
there's been that many, really?
Oh,
there's
yeah.
been 230.
Wow!
And they've
I've
all
been
been
there
sold
for about
out.
185 of them or something. It's pretty fascinating.
It is fascinating.
But people will commute every night after work to the show, go late, get up, bust their asses, go to work the next day. I was like, I don't know how you do it. I'm just up here playing, and it's hard. People have full lives and make all the shows. It's pretty fascinating.
Is every show different?
Yeah, we write. Me and Warren kind of spearheads it, and then we get together every day and talk about the set, or we do it a day ahead of time because there's a lot of guests that come, and you try to plan accordingly. But yeah, we change it up from night to night. A lot of dressing room rehearsals right before the show to throw in tunes we've never played before, and hope you don't fall on your face. And usually you don't. Sometimes you do. That's
And
part
Maurice,
of
our
the
trumpet player, he got up with them this year.
Yep,
And I
Saunders
got
too.
up, and Saunders got up.
Yep,
Wow,
So
it's a lot of fun.
it's a party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've only done one studio album with them, though, haven't you?
yeah, and there's always rumors of one happening. It's just that's a hard beast to wrangle. I think there might be one more in the future. I think this band should do one more record.
It's been nearly 10 years.
Yeah,
2004.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So, and there's some new tunes floating around. So we'll see. I don't predict anything with that band. It's amazing the amounts of ups and downs and left and right turns it takes. It's a fascinating career.
As a 20-year-old, how do you get a job with the Allman Brothers?
I'd been around them from an early age. When I was 9 years old, playing in South Florida, one of the first times I played down there, the band had just reunited. I think it was 1989. They did that record, Seven Turns. They were down there with Tom Dowd making that record. And, my uncle's a drummer in the band, and he came out to the show and brought Greg and Warren and Alan Woody, and they came and sat in. So the first time I played with them, I was 9, and then throughout the years, they would get me up and have me sit in. And, I think each time it was kind of, it became more and more of an audition every time I would sit in. They were kind of feeling out what I could do. And then when the guitar chair opened up, I got a call. Tom Dowd was there for the rehearsals, auditions, and it was fun. I never expected to get a call to join that band. I was already making records with my own group and fully down that trail, and it just wasn't something I ever thought of. So, but you never know what kind of twists and turns things are going to take.
you didn't think you were going to get the Clapton call either,
I did not.
or the Grateful Dead call, or the
Yeah.
Well, the Clapton call, Eric Clapton, the Road to Escondido with J.J. Cale.
Yeah.
Just doing an incredible session just to
That was
Absolutely.
and Billy Preston was there. It was right before he passed away. So
That's right, wasn't it the very last performance he ever recorded?
yeah, because he was scheduled to do that tour we did, that year-long tour. On the first tour book I got, it had Billy Preston's name in it. And he passed away not long before the tour started. So that was a shock. He was so talented, man. Just being in the studio with him for a few days was a thrill.
Yeah, and Susan, you're really the black sheep of your family, aren't you?
Yeah,
They all
pretty
come from a
much.
long line of supermarket moguls.
It's true. I was always pretty much the black sheep.
Yeah.
I've always been performing though. I've been on stage since I was 5 or 6 years old, and they always knew I would do something. So I think they expected it.
But her dad has music in his blood. He was going to all the cafes in Boston in the early 60s, seeing Dylan and John Hurt and all that whole folk revival, or when all that stuff started, he was there for all of it. So,
Yeah.
so there was
And he plays acoustic
Yeah.
and harmonica and
so he was the link
And
to the
sings
other
and
side.
He was the key out.
yeah.
He was
And
the
my
first
mom-
black
My
sheep.
mom too.
Yeah.
Both my parents are very musical, but they never did anything professionally. But they did a lot of amateur work, and played for fun. And they still love music.
Yeah.
My dad is still very into listening to stuff and getting new tracks. And like one of his favorite things he always tells me is, "Oh, I have this version of Derek playing 'Isn't It a Pity' with Eric and Steve Winwood, and it makes me cry." And, so
he's fun.
he's really into it. He knows all the a lot of the history of all the music, and of course loves a lot of the stuff that we do, and that's why we do love it. I grew up listening to Bob Dylan and a lot, Buddy Holly and people like Derek and the Dominoes because of him. So I feel very, very lucky.
Yeah, whenever we visit, he always has a guitar out, straps on his harmonica, and
Yeah.
he's unafraid.
Like the earliest recordings I remember were Mavis Staples and the Staples Singers, and my dad playing me. It was Lightning Hopkins, Black Cadillac, white wall tires. I must have been 4 years old, listening to these records. So, I was very lucky to get sort of American roots music instilled at such a young age.
Wow, well, it's a great story, and we've now got something to document it with for when they're not heading down this way. But Susan, Derek, it's been great to have you in here at
Thanks for having us.
noiseeleven.com.
Thank you so much
Beautiful.
for having us.